Little Miss Giggles by Roger Hargreaves. Can you giggle and eat cornflakes at the same time? Little Miss Giggles could. Do you giggle while you're asleep? Little Miss Giggles did. Can you giggle while you're brushing your teeth? Little Miss Giggles could. She was the giggliest girl in the world, and she lived in Chuckle Cottage. But one terrible day last summer, you'll never guess what happened. She lost her giggle. Just like that. Gone. She had woken up giggling, as usual. She had giggled her way downstairs, as usual. And she had giggled while she was having breakfast, as usual. But while she was out walking in the woods around Chuckle Cottage, she realised that she wasn't giggling. She stopped. That's odd, she thought to herself. Now ordinarily she would have giggled to herself, but not today. She tried. Nothing happened. She tried again. Nothing happened again. Oh dear, she thought miserably, and as she walked along a little tear trickled down her cheek. She met Mr. Happy, who was out for his usual morning stroll. "Hello, Little Miss Giggles," he laughed, "and how are we today?" But then he noticed her sad little face. "What's happened?" he asked anxiously. "You're the happiest person I know." He paused. "Next to myself, of course," he added hastily. "I've lost my giggle," she explained miserably. "Lost your giggle?" he asked in bewilderment. Mr. Happy scratched his head. He said. "Well, we'll just have to find it again, won't we?" Little Miss Giggles nodded, but not very hopefully. "Come on," he said, and seizing her by the hand, he took her off to see Mr. Funny. "There's nobody like Mr. Funny for a giggle," he said. But it was no use. Mr. Funny tried and tried to produce a giggle, even a chuckle or even a smile, but Little Miss Giggles just couldn't. "Tell you what," said Mr. Funny, "I'll tell you my very latest joke." "Made it up myself," he added modestly. "Very funny." He could hardly get to the end of the joke for laughing, and when he had finished, both he and Mr. Happy nearly fell over, they were laughing so much. But not Little Miss Giggles. "It's no use," she sighed. "I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life, I know I am." Then she thought. "And I'll have to change my name," she sobbed. And she started to cry again. Big fat tears. Oh dear me. So Mr. Happy took her to see Mr. Topsy-Turvy to ask his advice. "Morning, good," he said cheerfully, and then he caught sight of Little Miss Giggles' sad face. "Matters the what?" he asked. He always spoke back to front. Mr. Happy explained what had happened. "Dear oh," he exclaimed. Then he thought. "Doctor," he said. "Doctor, the cedar her take." "That's a good idea," said Mr. Happy, and took her straight away to see Dr. Make-You-Well. Mr. Happy told the doctor all about Little Miss Giggles' lack of giggle. He said. "Put out your tongue." "Not you, you silly Billy," he said to Mr. Happy. Little Miss Giggles put out her tongue. "Looks all right to me," said Dr. Make-You-Well. "Open your mouth." Dr. Make-You-Well peered inside. He said again. "You're right. Not a giggle in sight." "I'm sorry," he added, "but there's nothing I can do for you. You'll just have to wait for your giggle to come back." Poor Little Miss Giggles. Mr. Happy took her home, and even he by this time was not looking his cheerful self. What a sorry sight, don't you think? "Why don't you try to giggle?" he said hopefully. Little Miss Giggles opened her mouth. "Ha ha ha," she said dolefully. "He he he," she said miserably. "Ho ho ho," she added mournfully. It was no use at all. "I'm sorry, I can't help," said Mr. Happy as they reached the garden gate of Chuckle Cottage. And as Little Miss Giggles went sadly through her front door, he went home. To think. The idea came to him while he was having lunch. He rubbed his hands with glee. Tee-hee, he chortled to himself. And later that afternoon he knocked on the front door at Chuckle Cottage. "Who's there?" asked a sad little voice. "It's me," called out Mr. Happy. "I have a present for you." Little Miss Giggles, looking thoroughly miserable, opened the door. "Here you are," said Mr. Happy, and handed her a large box. On top of the box, in large letters, it said, "One giggle. medium size, this side up, handle with care. Little Miss Giggles looked at the box in amazement. "What is it?" she asked. "What it says it is," laughed Mr. Happy. "You lost your giggle, so I've got you another one. That giggle cost me a lot of money," he added. Little Miss Giggles opened the box. "But there's nothing in it," she exclaimed. "Of course not," said Mr. Happy. "Giggles are invisible." "But that's absolutely ridiculous," said Little Miss Giggles. "Is it?" chuckled Mr. Happy. "Of course it is," she giggled. She giggled. She giggled.